EF20 Online is sponsored by the Climate Council of Greater Kansas City and KKFI 90.1 FM, Kansas City Community Radio. Please welcome your host, David Hakan.
Hello. Well, I'm going to start off this climate concert with a song I wrote because I started realizing that when we ask people to get involved as climate activists, we're really asking a lot. So this is called Count Me In. Say if I'm not angry, not paying attention, that I say it's just a waste of time. Say if I'm not scared, I got my head in the sand. Well, I know it looks bad, but I'm feeling fine. I'm okay with joining your revolution. There's just one thing I need for that decision. You gotta promise me good music, and as long as I can dance, you can count me in. Count me in. Count me in. You want me to hold that sign right out on the street, write my congresswoman and chant that slogan. I'll march if you don't mind me singing, we shall overcome. And if you don't mind me doing a little token, I'm okay with joining your revolution. There's just one thing I need for that decision. You gotta promise me good music, and as long as I can dance, you can count me in. Count me in. Count me in. So I thought I should do a little bit of explanation on why I got involved as a songwriter in writing songs about the environment and cooking up this idea of a climate concert. And that all came from my involvement with Project Drawdown. So I'm going to bring that up. Share my screen and play. So I'm actually part of the Kansas City Drawdown Society. So Project Drawdown, in a nutshell, was 200 scientists and 100 advisors got together and realized a lot of people are looking at the science of how bad is it going to be, how soon. And no one had really taken a look at the numbers that we now have on all of these solutions. So they set out to find out what solutions were most impactful and mapped, measured, and modeled lots of these solutions, found the ones that were the most impactful that could get us to the point of reversing global warming, and set that as a goal, which really changed the discussion. And so we have a chance to, the 2017 report said we can do this with everything we have now available by 2050. The update that has kept the numbers and the rankings up to date says it's achievable by 2045. So we're going to listen to a short video by Paul Hakan that kind of gives an overview of this, and then get back to the music.
If you Google the top 10 solutions to climate change, top 20, 30, 40, 50, you name a number, but the top ones, what you get are proverbs. It's kind of like be kind to your mother, you know, eat smart, consume less, be efficient, move closer to work, use power strips at home. I mean, things that are definitely sensible, make total sense, but also give you a sense that we're screwed, because you know the enormity of the problem, the challenge that exists. It makes you feel sort of hopeless, actually. Most of the solutions in the world that are being proffered to people are about people's beliefs, whether they're from experts or they're from activists or they're from institutes or NGOs. It's just our beliefs about what we need to do. And like any good proverb, they're true, but they don't actually come together in a way that gives us a sense that cumulatively together and with those solutions, we can actually reverse global warming. And the idea that we should aim for mitigation or reduction or stabilization is just crazy, because ppm right now of carbon dioxide parts per million is 402. Humans have never existed when it was over 300. So we're in terra nova. We're in a place right now that no human being of any sort of type, and certainly civilizational or not, has ever existed. So the science about what's going to happen, how fast it's going to happen, is actually speculative. It's good science, but it's speculative. And the idea that we should adapt, mitigate, reduce, at this point at 402 is, to me, absurd. If you're going the wrong way, you have to stop. You just can't slow down and say, now we're not going the wrong way. You still are going the wrong way. And that's why I say right now the proposals around addressing global warming are like Thelma and Louise in slow motion. We're just going right over the cliff, but we want to go slower. And that is not an inspirational goal for humankind. The only goal that makes sense for humanity is to reverse global warming. It's to stop, turn around, and go the other way. And I don't believe that you can achieve something if you don't name what it is you want to achieve. And naming the goal of reversal actually opens up possibility. There's this idea that somehow if we make our goals too big, that it's too hard. It's the other way around. The bigger you make your goal, the more spaciousness there is in your mind, and creativity, imagination soars within a big goal. It doesn't get very far when the goal is really tiny and minuscule. Drawdown is the point in time when greenhouse gases peak and begin to go down on a year-to-year basis. At least that's what it means in respect to climate. You can't achieve drawdown unless you bring carbon back home, because we're way past the point in the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that would lead to a stabilized planet or stabilized weather systems. That's gone. So drawdown depends on bringing carbon back home. There's only one way we know how to do it, and it happens every year, and that is through photosynthesis. And if you look at NASA maps of carbon dioxide emissions span of a year, what you see is that every year, actually, we do draw down 6 to 7 ppm. So it goes up and it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. The problem is it doesn't go down to where it was before, and so there is a slow incremental increase of CO2 and greenhouse gases. So it's really about that equilibration, getting to that point where we bring back every year, over the course of a year, the same amount that we're emitting, and then bring back a little more, and that point's drawdown. And that is a very doable thing. And the way we face it, the way we looked at it, is as if it's almost an impossible task, and it's the other way around. The solutions surround us and around us all the time. The IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, is the most magnificent and greatest scientific endeavor in the history of humankind. There is no second or third place. Given that, you would think that we would know what to do cold. But actually the IPCC doesn't really work on solutions. They do have a third working group that is about solutions, and the one that came out 2 years ago was 2,017 pages long, and I don't think anybody I know read it, and it didn't become accessible in a way to people that they knew what to do as individuals, as communities, neighborhoods, cities, towns. It didn't make sense at all. It was science. So when we started Project Drawdown, we were working into a vacuum. What we did is measure and model extant, existing, practical, hands-on, WW Granger, everybody can get them solutions or do them, and see what would happen if they continued to scale in a rigorous but reasonable way over 30 years, and whether or not we could achieve drawdown, which is that first point in time when greenhouse gases decline. And we just began a process of mapping and measuring and modeling them. But first we had to cull them and collate them and look at them all. We looked at hundreds of solutions and started to, in a sense, measure their impact. Either they have an impact in terms of reducing the amount of carbon, CO2, or greenhouse gases that are going up, or they actually bring carbon dioxide back home. They sequester carbon. And we obviously were interested in both. And in that process, we only used peer-reviewed literature to measure the carbon impact. We didn't use anecdotes or stories or narratives. And on the economic side, the same thing. We modeled both the impact and the cost and the savings. It's a very complex model because every solution impacts every other solution in some way. It's one system, it's one Earth. And when the solutions came out, we were shocked. When the top solutions, we were like, no, you're kidding. And we didn't even see it coming, actually. You would imagine, or at least I think most people imagine, that the top solutions would be solar and wind and electric vehicles, don't cut trees and stop eating beef, and there's some truth to that, but not as much as you think. The top solution is actually refrigerant management, which is so prosaic, but the hydrofluorocarbons used in air conditioners and refrigerators are thousands of times more powerful in their greenhouse warming potential as our CO2 gases. And so a small release of those has a much, much bigger impact. And the second one was onshore wind, which I think not unexpected or not surprising. The third one, biggest solution, is reduce food waste. And that surprised us. And when you think about it, we use 10 calories for every calorie we eat. We have an extraordinary agricultural system in terms of how much energy it uses and wastes. It's not just the production of the food, it's the cold chains, it's the trucking, it's the stores, it's the grab-and-go cases, it's like driving to the store, it's going back home, it's the packaging, it's the plastic. Our food system is very energy intensive. And then that food goes into landfills, and that landfills are anaerobic and they produce methane gas, which is 25 times more powerful than CO2 in terms of its greenhouse warming potential. So food is critical. And then right next to that, at number 4, is actually plant-rich diet. It's not vegan or vegetarian. You may, that's fine. But it's a reduced meat diet for sure, to the level where actually it's healthy. And then number 5 is protecting, restoring tropical forests. Number 6 is educating girls. It's the girl effect. It's been talked about much. And if she goes beyond 10th grade, she becomes a woman more on her terms. She's educated. Her choices, her reproductive choices change. They earn more money and put the resources into fewer children. So they're now on a cycle of well-being, so to speak. And the number 7 solution is family planning. Those two combined, if you put them together, are the number 1 solution to global warming, which is empowering girls and women. And all I can say to that is, who knew? It's not a solar panel, it's a woman. And when you really let that go in, you think about it and say, well, yeah, I mean, it can't be a thing. We have this idea that somehow this inanimate object is going to save our behinds, and no, it's not. We need that inanimate object. It's beautiful. But we're going to save ourselves. And it's not surprising when you look at it that girls and women came out number 1 when you think about it. If you're a game changer, what you will want to look at is all 100 solutions. And one of the mistakes we make is by looking for constantly the top solutions and focusing on the top solutions. If you look at Drawdown, we have 80 solutions we measured and modeled, and 20 more which are so new you can't model them. but so let's just stick to the 80 for a minute. Those 80, some of them in the 60s and 70s have a relatively small impact compared to the top 7 or top 10 solutions. But you cannot achieve drawdown, you cannot achieve reversal of global warming unless you do them all. So there is no small solution. That's the point. We need all of it, and we need to honor all of each other. And so when somebody looks at that list, it's what resonates with them. Everybody could probably resonate with food waste, just unconsciousness about purchasing, consumption. Okay, so where do they make sense to you? Where do they make sense to your community? Where do they make sense to your village, or to your town, or to your company, or to your city, or to your state, or your province, or your farm, or your grassland, or your cows? It depends on who you are and where you are, your culture. And in that way, you know what is going to be where you can actually make a difference and accelerate the uptake of a given practice or technique or technology, rather than saying, therefore, you should do this. I don't have no idea what anybody should do. I know that people know what they should do when they read and understand something that makes sense to them.
All right. Stop share. Uh-oh. Stop share. Okay, we're back. So, I also taught second grade for 28 years. And as our group is talking about food waste, realized that I had come up with a very easy way to do worm composting. And so now we got grants, and there are 100 kitchens where people are taking their food scraps, and instead of in the landfill, they're going into the worm bins. So of course I had to have a song about worms. This is called I Like Worms. The hardest working creature that you'll ever meet is the one making tunnels under your feet. Task is mighty despite his size. He's a decomposer in disguise. I like worms. I like worms. There's a mystery underground where colonies toil. They eat anything rotten and it comes out soiled. They don't sting or make a sound. They've no eyes for you till you're in the ground. I like worms. I like worms. Worms make the world go round. They make me want to kiss the ground. Yuck. I like worms. I like worms. So I brought them in my kitchen, and that's no lie. All my food scraps go in their bin, where that stuff dies. In the landfill it would stink, I fear, and add methane to the atmosphere. I like worms. I like worms. In my bin all those veggie scraps just disappear. I open the lid to my compost, I feel like a pioneer. Coffee grounds, broccoli, and leaves and leeks, but it smells like a forest and a creek. I like worms. I like worms. Worms make the world go round. They make me want to kiss the ground. Not really. I like worms. I like worms. I like worms. So on a more serious note, as we look at all the solutions that people are working on and all the things that are a problem that need to change, start looking at it as a very big undertaking. But the other way to look at it is it's the great work of our time. This is called the great work. Now that we know what we've done, we can build a world we want to come. Yes, we're running out of time, but it's the great work of our time. The great work of our time. Extraction, exploitation, and monopoly built fine mansions in the land of the free. Slavery's been replaced by poverty. The chains were forged right on TV of our time. Can we break those chains in time? It's a great work of our time. Some are not waiting for the voting booth. They are acting on data, not debating truth. Around the world, folks like you and me, turning the ship's wheel just a few degrees at a time. Can we turn around in time? It's the great work of our time. Great work of our time. There's so much to do, it's hard to start. Let those who hurt the most open your heart. Start in your kitchen, your neighborhood. Share the hope that comes from doing good in your time. It's the great work of our time. Great work of our time. All right. Well, this one is a sing-along, and no one can hear you, so just sing out loud. Do you good. And I started thinking about, well, what if we actually manage this? Or when we manage this, if there's any alternative, what will the world look like? And so I decided, well, maybe I should write a song painting that picture. It's called All Around the World. Now that we know we're gonna do it, bring the carbon down. More than we put each year up in the air. We're gonna change how we all get around and make the stuff we think we need. Find a way to make green jobs, trade that's fair. Life will regenerate all around the world. Spirits will thrive all around the world. There will be justice all around the world. all around the world. We'll work across borders, we'll plant way more trees and protect all the rainforest canopy. Food will be abundant and the soil rich with life. Since it's all organic, no labels will we need. Life will regenerate all around the world. Spirits will thrive all around the world. There will be justice all around the world for all species all around the world, all around the world, all around the world. We will be one family all around the world. Cities turn into neighborhoods, solar and urban farms, and all girls get the schooling they deserve. The corporations' charters will change to benefit all, empowered to spread wealth and to serve. Life will regenerate all around the world. Spirits will thrive all around the world. There will be justice all around the world for all species all around the world, all around the world, all around the world. We will be one family all around the world. All right, time for one more. So this is a true story about a small island in the Philippines and a young girl named Daniela. It's called Tethered to a Rising Sea. And I need my harmonica. Hope this harmonica comes through okay. Daniela dreams at the rising sea, creeps through the slats in her bed, salty and black, and ghostly cold, the island of hope filled with dread. The Philippines island is 6 feet tall, water ankle deep fills the room, and it chews on the legs of her tables and chairs, pulled by the cold-hearted moon. We are married to this island life. We have everything we need. We have our boats, we have the ocean. We are tethered to this rising sea. We are tethered to this rising sea. By day she plays in the mangrove tree, looks for boats out on the blue. She tethers her doll and her favorite stool, so they don't wash away from view. She carries the rainwater back to her house, but she doesn't breathe through her nose. The mildew is strong and the sewer's gone wrong. It will only get worse, she knows. We are married to this island life. We have everything we need. We have our boats, we have the ocean. We are tethered to this rising sea. We are tethered to this rising sea. Her school moved in to the attic. Her teacher is not very tall. It's dry and really quite cozy, but her dad would have to crawl. They were told to move to a place on a hill, join the farmers there if they wished. But the town said, we are fisher folk, we will stay right here and fish. For we are married to this island life. We have everything we need. We have our boats, we have the ocean. We are tethered to this rising sea. We are tethered to this rising sea. This rising sea. This rising sea. This rising sea. All right, I tried to leave room for questions and answers. So let me see if I need to pull that up. You're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So what I might do is see if we can squeeze in another song. Wake the Dreamer. All right. So what a lot of people have been talking about is that we have to really change a lot more than just our energy sources. And we have to wake up from the dream of the modern world. So this is called Wake the Dreamer. Wake the dreamer, wake the dreamer. They're counting on you to be a sleeper. Oh, wake the dreamer. They say use up this year's model, then throw it away. Now we know there's a hidden cost, the profit hiding a better way. The dream says stronger is a better, like boys playing king of the hill. Like destiny is domination, bend all life to your will. First step is letting in the pain of the world. Go ahead and let yourself cry. How many times can someone look away and pretend they have no eyes? Wake the dreamer, wake the dreamer. They're counting on you to be a sleeper. Oh, wake the dreamer. Men are always the heroes. First destruction, then a nice sunset. I know it can feel like there's nothing left, but that's where possibility starts. Our life's one big community. We all return to the same heart. There are places where wisdom still survives, untouched by factories. We can learn to help each other, change the course of history. Wake the dreamer, wake the dreamer. They are counting on you to be a sleeper. Oh, wake the dreamer. Thank you. Okay, we've got some more questions. Yes, Bruce and Terry, thanks for tuning in. You guys have been in the fight a lot longer than I have. And I'm just glad that I'm able to turn my songwriting to help get the word out. And I'm hoping that these songs land to where they make sense. And so now, instead of booking my other shows, I'm primarily going to be just booking climate concerts. So, you know, if somebody is in a position to host those, I think it's, once we get to where we can actually have live events, going to be really a good way to get the word out, because sometimes these gatherings for talking about the climate crisis are really draining. And I think that music and a little humor is going to be a necessary balance to keep people working hard. Okay, we are at 40 minutes after. I might do. Oh, I could do that one. All right, all right, I'm working on the new CD. I've got enough songs for an entire CD on environment. So I'm going to do this one. It's going to be on there. Just mention some. It's called For This World, and we'll close it out. No one looks a stranger, dressed in a smile. Though to learn their way takes a little while. There's a gospel in shaken hands, building bridges across different lands. For this world we all love, for this world the Milky Way above, for this world say a little prayer, for this world we all share. As the seas begin to rise and the ice packs melt away, we must simplify our lives, lighter footprints every day. For this world we all love, for this world the Milky Way above, for this world say a little prayer, for this world we all share. Mean and proud tend to rule, but our silence is their greatest tool. time's coming near to make a choice for this world we all love, for this world no degree above, for this world say a little prayer, for this world we all share. We all lift our eyes once now and then, speak to someone unseen now once again. When our bitter past lingers there, even a sigh becomes a prayer for this world we all love, for this world no way above, for this world say a little prayer, for this world we all share, for this world we all love, for this world no way above, for this world say a little prayer, for this world we all share. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, davidhakan.com is the website, and I'll have information up there, and I'll be doing some Facebook Lives at David B. Hakan on Facebook. So you can catch a lot of stuff there as well. All right, we are at 6:44. I think that will do us for the climate concert. Thanks again to the Climate Council for all their work in putting this on.